So this special Folk Album of the Year Award edition of Folk on Foot is devoted to celebrating the evocative album Auchies Spikking Auchie by the clarsach player, that's the Scottish harp player, Grace Stewart-Skinner. And I'm delighted to say that Grace joins me now. Congratulations on your nomination, Grace.
Thank you. Delighted.
And there's so much to ask about with this album, but I suppose the starting point ought to be this village in the Black Isle called Avoch. Tell us why that village means something to you and where it is and what it's like.
So my dad's family are from oh so I didn't grow up there like I grew up very very close to there. So I was there lots during my childhood and very much my my dad brought me up very much knowing that was where I was from and where I belong to. Yeah, so it's a very small, like East Coast village, very, not a, not a, not a seeming, very small, very quiet, but there's so much a culture there that lots of people just don't know about because it is so tucked away on the Black Isle.
And it's a fishing village, isn't it? Fishing is very, very important in its past.
Yes, so that was why it was there, really. Like it was established because it's a natural harbor, like the way that the coastline goes. So that's why people settled there way back was to go fishing and yeah, so it's very much part of the culture, the heritage. But nowadays the the boats have just gotten larger and larger, so they can't go down because it's a little bit narrow and yeah. So the boats can't really go in to the harbour anymore. So sadly that side of it got less and less just over time.
And they speak a particular dialect there, which is what you're showcasing on this album. Tell us about the dialect and why that is so significant.
Well, it's the dialect of Scots. And Scots is one of two languages that way back in the past we spoke in Scotland, we Gaelic, we have Scots. And like up here in the north, Gaelic was very much the norm and the language that was everywhere. So it's really cool and unique to have this Scots dialect so far north. And like I don't know exactly why there's a few different things that people have said as to why there's a Scots dialect up here, but that's what makes it so so special because it is a Scots dialect in a landscape of Gaelic.
Would you call it dialect? Would you, or sort of the Auchie sort of way of speaking? Would that have been understood by people further east?
No.
Like along, no.
No, that was a thing. That was why it was always kept on and heavily kept at sea when they started using VHF radios. It was always said that no one could understand the Auchies.
Right, okay.
And that was a big thing about it. But what they did.
I'm born and bred Auchie, like, so I realised that I had to be a fisherman in a way, and so if you had to be a fisherman, you'd have to speak Auchie because it was no good getting in the alley that you were in if you couldn't speak Auchie, because it was Auchies, it was weird. They were all for the same village. There was nothing spoken but Auchie. If there's anybody out with the Auchie clan, like, they had a hard job getting a word Ukash.
Nominee laddies get the fishing out of the village. And they be at all.
No young people at all.
No, very few.
Things have changed an awful lot now. When we started working first, really big changes, and in the off dialect as well.
And why did you decide to make a whole album devoted to people speaking this dialect, recordings that you made in the village? What inspired you in the first place?
Well, so I do find language just in general very fascinating. So I guess like I was drawn to the fact that like it was so unique and I wanted to play next more. But really it was I discovered a recording of my 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 granddad just reciting some poetry which he had written in the dialect. And this, sadly, he passed away like a good 10 years ago. But somebody had made this recording, which I didn't even really know was there. Yeah, that just sparked lots of questions like the language of the culture and why do we not know more like about this.
And we hear your grandfather's voice on 2 tracks on the album, don't we?
Yeah, so thankfully it was 2 poems that he wrote, so we managed to get the audio cleaned up and sounding alright. To get, because that was so key to have him like on the album.
One of them's called "The Herring Must Have Taken Fricht,"
Yeah.
which has a really evocative of the fishing heritage of the village.
Yeah, well, the 2 poems that he wrote were that's what they're about, because he was a fisherman his whole life, and his family were all, they all went to sea. So yeah, so it's all he really knew, really. So yeah, but I guess it's a great poem, really captures so many different things, like captures his his personality as well, which is really, really nice.
This is just a wee poem about the herring fishing that used to take place in Macromery, Inverness and Bewley Firths. And this is done in the local Och dialect. Here we go and hope for the best, folks. It is September hier in Och, and you can hear the men at a lot. It's clarsach time, the fishers driving, the boats will soon be coming in. The appearance here is grand to see the Solans diving in the sea. They're up and down o'er the firth, the yawls are steaming for a berth. The meter's on, they're black as tar. I bet you this is where they are. If that's our hiding, there's no doubt the time that we was pitching out. We're sheeting now, the mark's dark brown. Somebody yells, the bows can doon. We eyelids on, we all are up. I think we'll have plenty with this cup. We're hauling up no butt be butt, there is a cran in it. They're sharp and fine, they blow the horn. We'll get them in as quick as we can. Then that's the haul, the skipper yells, that's on our boys. And Summing calls, the quota's in our eye and there, it's time that you was out of heat. Call up some boat as quick as you can. I'm steaming there, that's Sandy Van. He must have heard he's flashing now. Stand by, boys, to louse the bow. He's coming to you and tell the crew the kind of fishing can know. That's fine, they say, we'll tackle them last time to a skin a wall. We're steaming up at quite a speed. The tide's with us, that's what we need. The nets are up, the derrick D, a Larry waiting in the quay. We have them out within an hour. Luck's is the neck for sure. There's no another boat in sight. The herring must have taken fright.
I'm interested too in the process that you went through then, because you've got other people who you've recorded speaking in the village. Who are those people and how did you record them?
The people who you hear who are not my dad or my granddad, they are like was three like older people from us who really just by talking to my dad and saying like who do you think I should talk to and who would want to do it, because also a lot of people that generation, they don't want to be put on the spot like that, and yeah, so that was kind of how I went. Then I went to their houses, spoke to them, and then I got them all to come together for the actual recording, because I wanted them to talk to like each other, not so much to me.
It's not so much an interview, it's more a conversation that they're having amongst themselves, isn't it?
Yeah, which was quite hard to do because it is a funny thing for someone to stick a microphone on the table and just say talk. So I did have some questions. So I did like guide the conversation. But like I wanted them to talk to each other because the dialect is so kind of not used. Like I knew, like if they spoke to directly to me, then I knew they probably would slip back to just talking more standard like English. So that was a key thing, was getting them to talk to each other so that they did actually use the dialect and the words, and yeah.
And they come up with some quite funny stories, don't they? Like Granny P, who fought to save her railings from being taken away for the war effort.
Yeah, well, I had no idea what they were gonna say.
My by name is Mabel. Mabel. But my grandfather, the dad, his two brothers are different by names.
That's right, Walday.
Walday and
Walday.
Balday, that's right.
Baldy,
Balday and Well, I'll tell you a story.
Yeah.
What I heard via a fisherman last week out in the Garden about when the Pioneer was up at Alpier and a Manikipi Cromerty was sent up for a bag of coal. Ken what I mean?
Right.
Do they ken Louis what I mean?
Yeah.
And when he was lowering the coal in, it went up the water.
Bill.
And he says, "Dinna worry," he says, "I'll get up and buy another bag and I'll pay for it myself." Cromerty man. You ken what it was?
No, not for her, but I know.
No.
No, I don't know, but I
Now, did you hear the tale about Granny P?
Georgiova.
No. They came to take down the railings for the war effort, and she chased them away. She says, "You've me 6 sons, you're not getting me railings." And the railings are still there. That right, Louis?
No, I never heard that.
They're there now.
Eh?
Are they?
Ah, they're story, is it?
That's what he said.
Yeah.
The amazing thing is then how you added the music, and it's you and some other musicians. Can you tell us about the other musicians who took part and how the process of adding the music to this dialect recording worked?
So I have a 4-piece um band, and myself on clarsach. So we have Rose Logan on fiddle. She plays the Scottish fiddle, but she also plays a harp danger, which is really nice. And then we have Rona McDonald on double b- double bass, and then together on drums. And yeah, it was quite a wild process. I gave myself 1 month to write the album. um, because I wanted that really, really focused time. So I did all the editing of the dialogue, because there's a lot more than what's on the album. And that was really hard to choose what to use and what not to use. And yeah, because I wanted to capture the conversation side, the like natural side of it. But then I also wanted to have, like you say, good stories, and yeah. So I did all that myself, and I just chopped it up, and then kept going through taking out bits, and yeah, till I had something small. Then I wrote tunes. So I'm a trad musician, so I very much write tunes, like an A part, B part kind of thing. So I wrote a tune for each track. Like a rough kind of structure of where the dialogue would come in and come out. then I took that to the other um the other musicians, and we arranged it together. So they wrote their own parts, but like I wrote the kind of main structures and melodies.
One of the great things about it is the way in which you've used the rhythm of the speech and you've cut the speech up so that it becomes effectively songs. I mean, it feels like somehow that there's a song that's been created.
Yeah, well, that was something I was really like aware of. Was I didn't want it just to be dialogue then Jim for like every track, because I was very aware that this is quite an unusual like album to do a full like album with this dialogue. So I was aware that I wanted that kind of variation of have some that were more dialogue heavy, you might say, than some that were more about the tune.
And one of the most evocative tracks for me was the one called Boats, which is just the people you've interviewed speaking the names of the boats that used to be part of the fishing fleet mixed with your music.
That's funny that you should mention that track. That was one which I worked with, not the rest of so I worked with a different producer on that track. So it just me, Nafi, who's a producer in Glasgow, because I wanted to. This album is also my debut, so I wanted to kind of show a slightly different side to me and my music as well. Like obviously that's not a key focus, but yeah, like I do a bit more like electronic stuff sometimes. So that track is more, yeah, more like down that kind of like electronic kind of ambient road. But again, it's great because it gives a little bit of something a little bit different.
Marky McClellan, the Heather Lee, Enterprise, Marigold, the Marguerite, the Register.
Pioneer, the Blossom, Legal,
Cedar,
Cedar,
Controversy,
the pioneer and the blossom and the eagle. See that now.
Grace, you've written a blog about living with cerebral palsy, and I've been reading that, and it's really interesting. It says, "I am not your inspiration unless I am," is the headline. But I wondered if you might just talk us through a bit about your own personal story. So, how did cerebral palsy affect you when you were first born?
When I was first born, I was quite heavily affected actually, and people didn't really know how far I would go, I guess. Like it's such a wide term, and it can affect people in so many different ways. So my mum and dad really were really great with just saying that they were just seeing how, like, just no, like, expectations to see how far I could go. And to be honest, I kept surprising people. Or technically, I learned the sign language before I could talk, because the assumption was that I would never be able to talk to a level where I could actually communicate. But then I just kept trying and kept working, and yeah. Same with walking as well. They didn't know I would ever walk like independently, and now I go up the hills, and yeah.
So I wonder if it says something about your character that you were determined to make that progress, even when the doctors thought maybe you wouldn't.
Well, yeah. I think it was my mum and dad really. They harbored that like in me. But with playing the clarsach, like obviously you do need quite fine dexterity, and that was a long time that like I really wasn't very good. Just because it took longer for me to hone those that 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 skill to actually play.
What made you want to take up the clarsach in the first place?
Well, my mom is a gallery, is a singer, so she's been in bands and has solo like albums, and so I think like I just grew up surrounded by Scottish traditional music, and so like I think everybody knew that like I would end up doing something down that line. I've tried a few different like instruments, um, but then clarsach is really lovely because no matter what you do, it's gonna sound nice. Um, so, so it's a great one start to start with, because even as a complete novice, you can do a glissando, and it's like.
And what were the particular challenges that you had to overcome as you began to practice the instrument?
Yeah, really, my hands. So I'm more like affected down my left side, which is actually pretty good for playing. clarsach because like it's like the piano, like in the your right hand has the tune and the melody. Your left hand is more kind of like accompaniment. So actually, it worked quite well in that sense because my left hand is harder to control. But certainly when you first start, it's not really doing that much. So that was really good for me not to lose a heart. Like I think because I think had I tried to play something else like pipes or where your your two hands are more like equal, then I think that would be a lot much harder to keep to keep it going. Um,
And was there a breakthrough moment? Was there a moment when you thought, "I've got this. You know, I've cracked it. This is really going well."
I don't think I've got there yet.
Still practicing. And did you need some help to transport the instrument because it's not a light instrument, is it?
Yes, that is the one thing that is not very good. Like even now, so I'm a full-time classic player, and that's my job. So yeah, getting transported is a pain, and it's long, and it's something that gets me quite annoyed sometimes. Like I can't just pick it up and go. Like every time I do a gig or like I work in schools as well, and so every time I need to like arrange somebody to help me get it like in the car, then somebody at the other end. And plus, there's a lot of trust. Cause obviously, my harp is very like important to me, so it can be quite scary to just hand it to someone who I don't know. But then if I don't do that, then I can't play.
And I mentioned the headline on your blog. People have described you as an inspiration, but I think you have mixed feelings about being called an inspiration.
It's all about context. Yeah. I, I think within the disabled kind of like community, like in general, that word gets thrown around quite a lot, and um, like I don't think I'm an inspiration just for getting up in the morning and like having a cup of coffee. But then if I like inspire you to actually go and play the harp or go and like engage with Scottish culture when you might not have done that, then yeah, then I suppose that we can. But yeah, like I'm just doing life the way I do it, and that's a little bit different to some people, but that doesn't mean it's like anything crazy.
The inspiration you've given me is to learn more about this dialect. And I want to come back to the album because we hear your father's voice reading a poem that he's written about the village. Just tell us about that poem and what it says.
Really? Well, for a starter, I like I said before, I had no idea what he was going to do. So I just said to him, like, I'm doing this project and I think it'd be really nice for you to do some do poems because I got my 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 granddad's poems. So I just thought that would be a nice link through the generations. But yeah, so he was away at sea at the time because he's still he still works as a trawlerman. So yeah, so I just said to him on the phone, "Can you write me a poem?" And he was like, "What?" Like, I don't write poetry. But then he came back with this gorgeous, like, it really is a very lovely poem. It's really about the change that he has seen. Because I guess my dad has seen, like, all the old men, the fishermen. He, that's who he started with back when he was 16, going to sea. And they sadly more and more have gone and passed away. So he's really seen that that decline. And yeah, it's a very, very touching poem. I think everybody was slightly surprised when yeah, I don't know where he got it from.
Well, let's hear that track now and end on that track. But Grace, it's been an amazing conversation. Thank you very much indeed for sharing all these insights into the album with us, and congratulations once again on your nomination.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know what you have in a title, I don't know what you call it, but it's basically about the change in the village. So, there's no a yelly in the pier, as stringers wherever mock a lose, with scales I shall do a kessick. The memories of the scoffies a blow the briggies gone. The pitch block sheds that house the 10 scores and rig nets are awa, along with the yarns of the men that Dr. Keswick couldn't even cure, but still went to sea in their minds. No one looks for the palex getting lost with the flood tide or the maws showing an appearance in the channel. There's no a chiliki or a demicky that would ken it to do with a fry, or stands as their boba's side while he makes ready the silver harvest for the table. There's hardly a soul that minds a sprott bog dry on the high road fences, draped like bunting for the crowning of the Hellion Queen, or the thick block steins that marked the spot where the barking was done. It's all gone, but still we use the name Auchie with pride. Though the bars of the station, the harbour, would fair fiown for the company of those now past, and the yarns passed down to those eager to listen. The dignity of the family name still remains. The spirit and values of a time now past are carried in new blood, and new names that will in time add to the stories. Be it for the varnished hunters in the pier or the lilt of the voices in the closes, Och will always remain true in the hearts of the Chielics that came from.